The concept of Christ as the rock is indeed present in both the Old and New Testaments of the Bible. Let's explore this theme. 1. Old Testament. In the Old Testament, we see references to God as a rock, symbolizing his strength, stability, and refuge. For example, in Psalm 18 verse 2, David declares, "The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer, my God, my rock in whom I take refuge." This imagery portrays God as a solid foundation, a source of protection, and a place of security. 2. New Testament. In the New Testament, the Apostle Peter refers to Jesus as the rock. In Matthew 16 verse 18, Jesus says to Peter, "And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock, I will build my church." Here, Jesus is not referring to Peter himself as the foundation of the church, but rather to the confession Peter made about Jesus being the Christ, the Son of the living God. Christ is the ultimate foundation upon which the church is built. Additionally, in 1 Corinthians 10 verse 4, Paul writes, "For they drank from the spiritual rock that followed them, and the rock was Christ." Paul is referring to the Israelites in the wilderness who were sustained by God's provision of water from a rock. Paul sees this event as a foreshadowing of Christ, who provides spiritual sustenance and life to believers. So, in both the Old and New Testaments, the imagery of God or Christ as the rock signifies strength, stability, refuge, and the foundation of faith. It reminds us that we can find security and salvation in Christ, our solid rock. The significance of Jesus being referred to as the rock in the New Testament is multifaceted and carries profound meaning for believers. Here are a few key aspects of this significance. 1. Foundation of the church. In Matthew 16 verse 18, Jesus declares, "On this rock, I will build my church." By identifying himself as the rock, Jesus is emphasizing that he is the foundation of the church. The church is built upon the truth of who Jesus is as the Son of God and the Messiah. He is the solid and unshakable foundation upon which the church is established. 2. Stability and security. Just as a physical rock provides stability and security, Jesus as the spiritual rock offers the same to believers. He is the unchanging and reliable source of strength and refuge. When we build our lives upon the truth of who Jesus is, we find a firm foundation that cannot be shaken. 3. Salvation and sustenance. In 1 Corinthians 10 verse 4, Paul refers to Jesus as the rock from which the Israelites drank in the wilderness. This points to the idea that Jesus provides spiritual sustenance and salvation. Just as the rock in the wilderness provided water to sustain the Israelites, Jesus provides living water to nourish and satisfy our souls. 4. Rock of offense and cornerstone. In 1 Peter 2 verses 7-8, Jesus is described as the stone that the builders rejected, and the cornerstone. This imagery highlights the paradoxical nature of Jesus' role. While he is the sure foundation for believers, he is also a stumbling block for those who reject him. Jesus' identity as the rock brings division, as some accept and build upon him, while others stumble and reject him. Overall, Jesus being referred to as the rock in the New Testament signifies his central role in the establishment of the church, his unwavering stability and security, his provision of salvation and sustenance, and the divisive nature of his identity. It reminds us of the unchanging nature of Christ and the solid foundation we have in him. The significance of Jesus being referred to as the stone that the builders rejected, and the cornerstone, is profound and carries rich meaning in the New Testament. Let's explore the significance of these two metaphors. 1. Stone that the builders rejected. This phrase comes from Psalm 118 verse 22, which says, "The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone." In the New Testament, this verse is applied to Jesus, highlighting the rejection he faced from the religious leaders and some of the people during his earthly ministry. Despite being the long-awaited Messiah, Jesus was rejected and ultimately crucified. The significance of Jesus being the rejected stone is twofold. First, it reveals the fulfillment of Old Testament prophecies, demonstrating that Jesus' rejection was part of God's divine plan. Second, It emphasizes the humility and meekness of Jesus, who willingly endured rejection and suffering for the sake of redemption. 2. Cornerstone. In Ephesians 2 verse 20, Jesus is referred to as the cornerstone of the church. A cornerstone is a foundational stone that determines the alignment and stability of the entire structure. It is the first stone laid, and all other stones are set in relation to it. Jesus, as the cornerstone, is the crucial and unifying element upon which the church is built. The significance of Jesus as the cornerstone is threefold. First, Jesus is the ultimate foundation of the church, providing stability, unity, and direction. Second, he is the reference point for all believers, setting the standard for faith and conduct. Third, he brings together people from different backgrounds and cultures, forming a diverse yet united community in Christ. These metaphors highlight the paradoxical nature of Jesus' identity. He was rejected by some, yet he became the cornerstone of the church. The rejection of Jesus by the builders represents the rejection of his authority and message, while the cornerstone symbolizes his essential role in the foundation and unity of the church. Ultimately, these metaphors emphasize the unique and central role of Jesus in God's redemptive plan. Despite being rejected by some, Jesus' sacrificial death and resurrection became the foundation upon which the church is built, bringing salvation and unity to all who believe in him.